You've watched the YouTube videos. You've Googled cost of living in Boise. You think you know what you're getting into, but you don't. Last year, tens of thousands of people relocated to the Treasure Valley, and the vast majority of them were completely blindsided by the realities of actually living here. From $80,000 hidden water well costs to a month of unbreathable air, to locals who actually resent them for moving here. My clients do not get blindsided. I'm a local realtor, and I won't let anyone walk into a relocation completely unprepared. And while other agents are feeding you fluffy drone shot highlight reels just to secure a quick commission, I am going to tell you the brutal, unfiltered truth about the home state I was born and raised in. Because buying a house is easy, but actually surviving the realities of living here takes work. So let's get to work. I want you to move here to Idaho for what it is, not for what you think you can turn it into. And the first thing that's going to catch you off guard has nothing to do with money, traffic, or politics. Let's start with what hits you first. Here's the gotcha. You're going to walk into a coffee shop your first week here and wonder why nobody is in a hurry. The barista is going to be having a full conversation with the person in front of you. You will be standing in line, tapping your foot because she's actually taking the time to talk to the customer ahead of you. That's not slow. That's Idaho. Boise is not a small town anymore. We've got over 800,000 people across the Treasure Valley. But the pace still moves differently than what you're used to if you're coming from Seattle, the Bay Area, or Phoenix. People here look you in the eye. They ask how you're doing and actually wait for the answer. You have to embrace this. If you can't downshift your internal speedometer, you're not going to last. You will spend every day annoyed at the cashier or the driver going the exact speed limit. You either adjust to the human pace of this valley or you stay constantly frustrated. Now, this next part is going to make some of you uncomfortable. Good. That means you need to hear it. Now, I need to say this clearly because a lot of people skip over it and then act surprised when they get here. Idaho is a conservative state, deeply conservative. It has been for a long time, and that is not changing anytime soon. The governor is Republican. The legislature is Republican by a wide margin. The state went for Trump by over 30 points twice. This is not a purple state trending one direction or the other. This is a state where conservative values are the foundation of how things work. From the schools to the tax code to the gun laws and even how land is managed. And here is the part that I need you to really hear. If you are moving here from a blue state because you like the low taxes, all of that exists because of how the state has been run. You do not get to move here, enjoy the benefits, and then vote to change the system that created those benefits. That math does not work that way. I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm telling you to understand why Idaho is the way it is before you start trying to make it something else. People have moved here from California, Oregon, from Washington, and some of them immediately start pushing for the same policies that made those states unaffordable and unlivable. Higher taxes, more regulation, more government involvement, and Idahoans see it happening and it frustrates them. That's where a lot of the "don't California my Idaho" frustration comes from. Let me be very clear. You are welcome here, but come here for what Idaho is, not for what you want to turn Idaho into. Okay, remember that dream house you found on Zillow last night? I'm about to ruin it for you. Now, let's talk about the thing everyone complains about, traffic. But here's the gotcha. You look at the map and think, Meridian to downtown Boise? That's like 15 minutes. Well, on a Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., you'd be right. Do not trust that number. Drive it at 5 p.m. on a Thursday. That 15-minute trip just became 45 minutes of staring at brake lights. And if there is a wreck on I-84, the whole valley literally stops. Because we only have one major artery, the overflow immediately chokes every surface street in the grid. There's no alternate interstate. There's no subway. There's no light rail. You just sit there completely trapped in your car. Eagle Road is the busiest non-interstate highway in Idaho. 60,000 vehicles a day, nearly 2,000 crashes in a 4-year stretch. They're installing variable speed limit signs now because it's gotten so bad during rush hour. Meridian police say that stretch sees close to 1,000 crashes a year. If you're looking at homes in Star or Kuna and you work in Boise, you need to drive that commute during rush hour before you buy. Not on a weekend, not at 10 a.m., at 5 p.m. on a weekday. That's your real number. And my tip, learn the back roads. Get off the main arterials. It will save your sanity. Do not buy a house where Eagle Road is your only option for a daily commute. If you have to use it every single day just to get to work, find a different neighborhood. This next one, if I don't tell you this now, your first week here is going to be a shock. So this is something you need to understand before you get here and not after. Idaho is a constitutional carry state. What that means is any U.S. citizen 18 or older who can legally possess a firearm can carry, open or concealed, without a permit. No purchase permits, no registration, no waiting period, no magazine capacity limits. The Idaho Constitution specifically prohibits the state from imposing licensing, registration, or special taxation on firearms. Idaho is also a castle doctrine and stand your ground state. That means there is no legal duty to retreat. If someone's home is broken into, or if they face a lethal threat in public, the law explicitly protects their right to defend themselves with force. You don't have to back down here. So let me be very clear. This is not a political talking point in Idaho. This is daily life. I grew up around guns, surrounded by a rich gun culture. My husband and I carry on that tradition with our 3 boys. 2 of them have participated in their local school trap and skeet team. Yes, that's a real thing here. Kids compete in shooting sports the same way they compete in football and basketball. They learn safety, discipline, and marksmanship, and they take it seriously. You're going to see people open carrying at the grocery store. You're going to see gun shops next to coffee shops. You're going to see bumper stickers about the Second Amendment everywhere you drive. If that makes you uncomfortable, I need you to know that now, before you sign a lease or close on a house. This isn't going to change. It's woven into the fabric of how people live here. And the vast majority of people who carry do so responsibly, safely, and without incident. Here's my advice. If you've never been around firearms and you're moving here, consider taking a safety course. Not because you have to, but because understanding the culture you're entering makes you a better neighbor. Everything I've said so far, that was the logistics. This next part is the one that actually matters. Now, I need to talk to you about something most relocation videos skip entirely. And honestly, this might be the most important part of this video. The people who were here before you are hurting. Let me give you the picture. In 2011, the median home price in Ada County was around $171,000. Today, it's over $500,000. That's not a typo. That's a 300% increase in roughly a decade. People who grew up here, whose families have been here for generations, cannot afford to buy a home in their own hometown. Their kids can't afford to stay. Some families have had to sell land that's been in their family for decades just to stay afloat. That is not an inconvenience, that is a generational loss. Nearly 500,000 of Idaho's 1.84 million residents are new to the state in the past 10 years. On an average day, 180 people move in and 137 move out. Some of those people leaving are the ones who made this place worth moving to. And here's where it gets real. The frustration isn't that you moved here. It's what happens after. I already told you, people are afraid of the state changing, but it goes deeper than politics. The other thing that frustrates locals, remote workers who bring their coastal salary but don't participate in the community. They shop on Amazon, they skip the local businesses. They don't volunteer, they don't show up to school events or county fairs. They live here, but they don't live here. I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty. I'm telling you because if you understand what people here have been through, you'll know how to show up in a way that earns respect instead of resentment. Shop local, vote informed, and get involved. Do not try to remake Idaho into the place you just left. Listen, growth is not the enemy here. When done right, growth is actually good for everyone. It brings new businesses, better opportunities, and fresh capital into the valley. But that only happens when newcomers build on top of the foundation that made the state great, instead of trying to pave it over. All right, here's a quick one, but if you skip this, you will regret it when you're sitting in an ER waiting room. Here's a quick reality check on the healthcare. The Treasure Valley has grown fast and the medical system is playing catch up. We have good hospitals, St. Luke's and St. Alphonsus, but specialists are booked out weeks, sometimes months. If you need a top specialist, major surgery, or cancer treatment, you may end up going to Salt Lake City. That's a 4.5-hour drive or a quick flight. My tip, start establishing care before you arrive. Find your doctor, get on waiting list, transfer your records. Do not wait until you're here and need something urgently. If you have kids, do not skip the next 60 seconds. If you're moving with kids, please listen carefully. Some districts here operate on a 4-day school week. Boise School Districts runs 5 days. West Ada runs 5 days. But Nampa, right here in the valley, recently went to 4. And the more rural you go, the more common 4-day weeks become. Now, here's the gotcha. If you work on Fridays and don't have childcare, that schedule is going to hit you hard. Class sizes are smaller, which can be great, but smaller also means fewer extracurriculars. A lot of families pay out of pocket for music lessons or they go outside the school system for competitive sports. Here's my advice. If you work a 5-day week, figure out your Friday childcare plan before you close on a house. Call the local Boys and Girls Club, look into church camps, the YMCA, and budget an extra $200 to $300 a month per kid for club sports or private lessons. Do not assume the public school system is going to be your built-in babysitter or athletic recruiter. And real quick, everything I'm telling you in this video, I mapped it. The traffic corridors, flood zones, noise contours, fire risk areas, school boundary issues, odor zones, construction zones, all of it. It's called the Treasure Valley Red Zone Map, and it's free. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code and download it right now. It will show you exactly where the problems are and where the safe zones are before you pick a neighborhood. Every area in the valley is different. Eagle is not Meridian, Meridian is not Kuna, and Star is not Boise. And the map shows you why. All right, let's get back to it. You think you know what Idaho weather is? You don't. And I'm not talking about the snow. Everyone knows Idaho has 4 seasons, but what nobody tells you about are the seasons between the seasons. You have mud season right between winter and spring. All that snow melts and your yard becomes a swamp. If you have a gravel driveway, parts of it might wash out. Your car is dirty 24/7, but a quick fix is get a car wash membership, $20 a month. You'll use it constantly. Then there's the inversion season. This is the one that really catches people off guard. The Treasure Valley sits in a bowl. In winter, cold air gets trapped at the bottom and warm air sits on top like a lid. That traps pollution, car exhaust, wood smoke right at ground level. You might not see the sun for 10 days straight. A local ER doctor called it a 2-season air quality problem because we also get smoke season in the late summer. Wildfires in Oregon, California, central Idaho, all of it, the smoke travels right into this valley. And in bad years, Boise schools have canceled outdoor activities. The AQI hits unhealthy levels and you're keeping the windows shut for weeks. Between the winter inversions and the summer smoke, you need to budget for a good air purifier, a HEPA filter, or an MERV13 on your HVAC system. Check the AQI app before you go for a run. It's just part of life here. And for my gardeners, your growing season is drastically shorter than what you're used to. You cannot just drop seeds in the dirt year-round anymore. Our last frost hits in May. Our first freeze comes in October, and that is your entire window. Look up your exact USDA hardiness zone before you spend money planning that backyard garden. The next section could save you $80,000. I'm not exaggerating. This is information almost no relocation video covers, and if you skip it, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. If you're looking at properties outside the main metro, rural Kuna, Star, rural Canyon County, and outward toward Emmett, you may not be on city water and sewer. You may be on a private well and septic system. Here's the gotcha. In Idaho, water rights are separate from land ownership. Just because there's a creek running through your property does not mean you can legally use that water. Idaho operates on a first in time, first in right doctrine, and title insurance typically does not cover water rights. Wells in the Treasure Valley can cost anywhere from $20,000 to $80,000 to drill, depending on location and depth. Mountain Home, you might be drilling deep. Emmett, it could be more affordable. But you need to verify this before you buy, not after. And if you're on septic, that system needs regular inspections and pumping every few years. Budget for it. A lot of Treasure Valley homes also come with pressurized irrigation, a separate water system just for your yard, billed through a local irrigation district. It's not on your regular water bill, it shows up separately. And you pay it whether you use it or not. Do not assume your dream property works the same way your house in the suburbs did. Have your agent check water rights, well depth records, septic status, and irrigation district fees before you close. All right, you survived the landmines. Now let's talk about whether you can actually afford to live here. So we've covered the lifestyle, now let's talk about the money. Idaho is a right to work state. The minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, the federal minimum. It hasn't gone up since 2009. If you're a server or bartender, your employer can pay you $3.35 an hour as long as your tips make up the difference. Do not move here planning to survive on a service industry wage. The people who are doing well here are remote workers who kept their Seattle or Bay Area salary. Tradespeople, electricians, plumbers, HVAC, because demand is massive, and entrepreneurs, because Idaho makes it easy to start a business. Low taxes, minimal red tape, and a growing population that needs services. Now, the hidden costs. If you're outside the main gas service areas, you're heating with propane, wood, or electric. None of them are cheap, and Idaho winters are real. Your first winter is expensive. Snow tires, possibly a snowblower. If you look up the climate data for the Boise Metro, it says our average snowfall is minimal. Well, you might think you don't need the heavy-duty gear, but don't fall for it. Idaho weather is entirely bipolar. One week it's 50 degrees and sunny. The next, a freak storm dumps 6 inches of wet snow that immediately freezes into a solid sheet of ice overnight. That is when the unprepared get exposed. All-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, I strongly recommend it. Front wheel will get you through 90% of the winter. But on those bad, unpredictable days, you'll either be stuck in your driveway or stuck sideways on the highway. Now, for my tip, skip the default weather apps. Bookmark Cody the Weather Guy at codythewxguy.com or on Facebook. He has the absolute best up-to-date local forecast, and he's actually funny. He'll tell you when the roads are about to freeze before the national apps even know what's happening. So that covers how to survive winter. And if you're coming from California, sit down for this one. Now let's talk about how to survive the tax bill, because the weather isn't the only thing that will blindside you here. Idaho property taxes get reassessed every single year at current market value. Yes, the state has a 3% cap, but here's the catch. The cap applies to the taxing district's total budget, not your individual bill. If your home's assessed value spikes because your specific neighborhood got hot, your personal tax bill spikes right along with it. Your individual increase is not capped. If you're coming from California, where Prop 13 locks in your rate, this annual reassessment notice will completely blindside you. And travel. Boise has nonstop flights to about 27 destinations: Seattle, Denver, Phoenix, Salt Lake, LA, San Fran, Chicago, Vegas, but no international flights. If your destination isn't the direct list, you're connecting through Seattle or Denver. That is what locals call the Boise tax. You trade a 10-minute security line for the reality of being a spoke city. You are adding 4 to 6 hours to any trip to the East Coast or Midwest just to sit in a hub terminal. It makes business travel a grind. You're leaving at 5 a.m. just to make a dinner meeting in Atlanta or New York. If you're a global traveler, get ready for at least 3 legs just to see Europe. Efficient airport? Yes. Global gateway? Not even close. One more thing, and honestly, this is the part that decides whether Idaho embraces you or resents you. The Treasure Valley is growing fast. You're going to see fields turned into subdivisions. Road construction is constant. Winters destroy the asphalt and the infrastructure is racing to keep up. The upside is growth means opportunity. New businesses, new services, new jobs. If you're entrepreneurial, this is one of the best places to start something right now. But if you want zero growth and total quiet, go 30 minutes outside the metro. There are towns that aren't experiencing any of this, and we can help you find them. Last thing, if you move here, do your part. Learn the issues. Look into who's running for office, local and state, and vote. Do not just vote by party line. Do research and find out who actually cares about this state. And when someone proposes raising taxes to fix a problem, understand what that actually does to the people who've been here for decades, barely getting by. The last thing we want is to price out the people who made Idaho worth moving to in the first place. The bottom line is, come here, love it, protect it. That's all we ask. If you haven't grabbed the Red Zone map yet, do it now. Link is in the description. It covers every traffic corridor, flood zone, fire risk area, noise contour, school boundary issue, and hidden cost zones across the Treasure Valley. Do not guess where to buy. Know before you go. And if you want to go deeper, scan this QR code and set up a call with me and my team. We'll take that map and match it to your life, your budget, and your priorities. And do me a favor, comment below. What is the biggest thing you're worried about when it comes to moving to Idaho? I read every single one. I'm Rachael, and I'm helping you live your best life in Idaho, and I'll see you in the next one.